everyone. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Current. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today I got a special guest all the way out in Los Angeles. We got Brad with EQIFI. How are you doing today?
Hey, Richard. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Of course, man. Well, thank you for spending some time with us. Excited to learn more about what you got going on with EQIFI. But first, we got to learn more about you. Can you give us some background about yourself?
Absolutely. So I've been a tech entrepreneur for the most of my life, as far as I can remember. I started programming at an early age, and the love affair never ended. I like building stuff, software, hardware, and continued down that path. Although, as far as my training and trade goes, I'm an economist and a financier banker. So technology is just passion, and to be honest with you, I never looked back.
Yeah, man, it's a fun space to be in. Similar background with some finance, but also fell in love with tech. But what was that first introduction to the crypto blockchain space? What did you first learn about it?
So my introduction to cryptography was early on because I liked working on other people's software and deciphering it and figuring out how they built it and what they did with it. So that predates blockchain. The blockchain component, the element, I got introduced to Bitcoin late 2009. A friend of mine sent me a couple of files to compile and said, Brad, compile these, you're going to have a great time. So immediately I thought he's either trying to take control of my computer and this is a prank, or this is something cool. So I boot up a computer I wasn't using, compile them, drop them on there. And it turned out that it was a Bitcoin miner, a full Bitcoin node, and a Bitcoin wallet. And that started the journey with Bitcoin. And I was fascinated because I'm probably one of the outliers there who didn't read the Bitcoin white paper, didn't know anything about it, and just got the files dropped on him as a like, hey, check this out kind of invitation. And I did check it out, which turned into mining Bitcoin in the early days, then trying to launch businesses unsuccessfully at that stage because there wasn't a lot of interest, or I wasn't maybe in the right circles. But it started there, then got very excited about Litecoin. Of course, when you can do something faster, cheaper, it's always exciting. Right. Followed that journey. I have friends who built the master coin, so that was really exciting, really brilliant minds involved with it. And then after bumping into Vitalik in Miami in 2014 at an event that my friend was launching, I participated in the original sale of Ethereum.
Wow.
And that solidified my excitement around blockchain and crypto, because now I could build stuff. I could program things. Mind you, you can program Bitcoin blockchain too. There are some scripts you can run and things like that, but it's highly impractical. So, that was the beginning of the journey. I started Beyond Enterprises, which is our consulting incubation company in 2012. That turned into full-on blockchain and crypto in the later years. And I just narrowed my focus from interest in all sorts of technology to slowly just consider how can blockchain impact different industries, different technologies, and here we are.
Yeah, man, that's an impressive background. The fact that you got in Bitcoin in 2009 was it was dropped on you, and you were mining it from the beginning, and finding ways. It's cool that you were also at an event where you got to meet Vitalik, be one of the first buyers of Ethereum, and then see the use case of like, oh wow, this is something that I can use and build and grow from, and kind of just keep expanding from that moment. And I want to come back and spend some time on this a little bit later, but first I want to keep pushing forward. So you talked in 2012, you started your consulting company, and that kind of propelled you to where we are potentially present day. So bring us to present day EQIFI. So what is it? How did you come up with it, and what's presently going on?
Absolutely. So fast forward to today, I'm on my 15th business. EQIFI is number 15, and hopefully the biggest and the best thing that I'll ever work on. But the idea of EQIFI kind of slowly formed when I met my business partner, Jason Blick. Jason and I met after he launched his second bank, EQIBank. He sold his first bank for $1.3 billion. Wow. He was building EQIBank. We met, and we really got along well. It was that friendship at the beginning, without any necessarily business conversation. Of course, with EQIBank, I found also a bank that supports the ecosystem, very crypto friendly, highly welcoming to the types of activities crypto needs. So it was of course professional, but the friendship component also grew, and we kept talking about building stuff together and doing stuff together, just because we had this really good positive rapport. And eventually last year, with the explosion of DeFi and an incredible value creation in the space, we started looking at ways where we can contribute to that. Not right. just as consumers, as investors, but more as what can we contribute into the space. And we tried to see what are the problems that people are experiencing. So on the DeFi side, it was mostly not being able to access the value people create with these DeFi projects. I mean, I met several people who created millions of dollars worth of value with their projects, with their investments, with their the products, and they couldn't access any of it in their daily lives, which to me felt unfair and problematic, because if you create tens of millions of dollars worth of value as a farmer, you're able to access it. You can go and buy a new home. You can buy a new tractor. You look at DeFi, and it's very difficult to make that journey from a liquidity pool where you have an LP token to the native token to Ethereum or whatever the blockchain token is, then to convert it to fiat and then get that fiat into your bank account. You need to jump through at least 3, if not 4 or 5 hoops, and it can break down at any stage. So that was a problem, and we thought, okay, we're not going to change the banking system, the existing banking system. So what we can do is we can build our own version of it and try to address this issue. And so that was, how do we serve the DeFi community aspect of it? On the banking side, Jason was also seeing a lot of accounts start earning negative interest rates. So it was a big problem on the traditional digital banking side, where people created incredible value and savings for themselves, started seeing those erode. And again, we thought, this is not fair that someone deposits €1 million into an account with the expectation that they're going to have €1 million, and at the end of the year, they get a statement saying, now you have €980,000. And they're like, well, what happened? I didn't touch my money. It's a savings account. And it's like, well, it's negative interest rates plus fees. I mean, wow. And a lot of people think of banking fees as, oh, banks making money, but it's a very complex system, and there are hard costs associated with providing banking services. So they may not even be, just bank profits. They may be, hey, just to maintain that account, you have to spend that money. So those two problems come together was the genesis of EQIFI. We thought, okay, if we can bring the DeFi returns to these people here who've never owned a wallet, never owned crypto, but they have savings, they have value that they created that they want to preserve, if not increase, and bring access to banking at levels that don't exist right now to our DeFi communities. And marry the two, we thought we'd be, killing two birds with one stone and making life much better for both the communities that are not necessarily connected right now.
Right.
Hence the idea of this gateway to bring new capital into the DeFi space. EQIFI was born.
Man, that is extremely powerful. So to just walk back a little bit of it to make sure I didn't miss anything. So EQIFI side of it was on the decentralized finance piece of it, understanding how do we get more liquidity. So people are creating a ton of value, but then to try to get that liquidity out of the amazing thing with all this value, very difficult, challenging, a lot of steps. A lot of newbies
Correct.
would have no idea how to get it. And then from the other side of it, people who have locked up some wealth, who are getting hit with negative interest fees. So you put in $1 million, now you lost 20 grand. Essentially, you're like, well, how did this happen? Now you're basically providing a tool so that when they put in their $1 million, now not only are they going to keep that, they're also going to have an opportunity to make interest, make money on top of it, while still being able to provide the liquidity to the people from the DeFi side. So it's like the perfect merger of need, with both sides being able to benefit.
Well said. Well said. I mean, we thought if we can provide 3, 4, 5% return on the traditional digital banking side of things, that'll be a game changer for those account holders, and that will actually excite them to look into what DeFi is doing and maybe want to participate. Again, the whole purpose here is to create a gateway. We don't want them to just stop at what our products are or our platform is. We want them to get comfortable and excited and then go explore other projects, other protocols, other platforms in the space. And we want to enable them to do that.
Right.
So again, we wanted to have the smoothest, less frictionless user experience from one side to the other and vice versa, so that they can experience it and they don't have to be really tech savvy. They don't have to understand different blockchains. They can just look at different products that are being offered on the platform, point and click and get a taste of it. And if they want to dive deeper, here you go. Here's how you do it.
And that's incredible, man. Like it's literally taking the traditional side of things, but then still giving them that taste of crypto, but done in such a simplified way that you still don't necessarily have to know what's going on. When you talk about true adoption, you don't necessarily know how all the bells and whistles in your laptop work right now. You just know that if you press this button, it brings me to Zoom. Now me and you can talk right now. But in the same way in traditional finance, when you were to go to a bank and you're trying to say like, hey, I have this much money, I'm trying to get this kind of return. Like, how do you help me? First of all, to get that kind of access was pretty limited to certain amounts of people. But now with the thing like EQIBank, you're opening up to a larger audience, giving a lot more access, but then still giving them the tools to be able to get the returns that they would ultimately not be able to get in the traditional finance realm. So I think that is extremely, extremely cool. And something else that you mentioned that I want to spend a little bit of time on, and we actually talked about this before coming on the show, the idea that you're welcoming people to go and explore other options as well, in the sense of understanding from a DeFi standpoint, other ways that they can make their money work for them. And you're saying it's not so much as a competition as a means to giving people a way to keep empowering themselves to grow their wealth. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. That's a really important point. We believe that rising tides benefit everyone. So our goal with EQIFI is to be the gateway to DeFi for non-crypto people, non-technical people. And on the flip side, be the gateway to daily access to the value created on the DeFi side. So when we look at other successful projects in the space, we see them as partners. We see them as opportunities to collaborate and make our platform, our products more robust, because we're not here to, compete or take market share from anyone else who's already in the DeFi. That's great. If you have a tech savvy user base and they're using the product, God bless. I mean, there are wonderful projects out there and we support them 100%. What we want to do is we want to take the non-tech savvy people, the people who are not comfortable putting large amounts of money in no-name projects where you don't know the founders, you don't know where it's based out of, there's no regulation around it, yet it has hundreds of millions of dollars under, on the platform in value lock. They have a place, and I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying that's not for everyone. So what we're trying to do is we want to bring the people who value the licensed and regulated aspect of a bank. They go to the bank and they feel safe and secure. Hence, EQIFI being powered by EQIBank allows us to instill that confidence, give them a starting point, and then slowly bring them into a project where all the founders are well known. The project is very transparent. We show people where is the headquarters, where are we licensed, what jurisdictions we're reporting to, and as a result, it brings a new wave of investors, new wave of users into the DeFi space. One, because we're eliminating the technical complexity and know-how requirement, and two, we're instilling a little more confidence than, okay, this is programmatic and it's going to work. I mean, I believe in programmatic, DAOs and approaches to things. So for me, it's really simple to say, okay, if I lock $1 million of value in this contract, and if it's audited and I know what it does, I'm comfortable with it. That's not 90% of the population who want to invest. They're not comfortable. So we're trying to educate and comfort people into understanding that they don't have to just rely on traditional banking, just rely on negative interest-bearing traditional products, but they can use these new products, brand new products that have come to the market in the past 2 years and have a positive return on their savings.
Yeah, man. And this is a very unique spot that you're in, because you're getting to take the DeFi, the new age form of decentralized currency and opportunity, but then combining it with an actual bank and to have that kind of support. Like, I think that's going to probably move some people to feel a little bit more comfortable and confident with being able to go on a quote unquote riskier bet, which is decentralized finance. But when you really think about DeFi and merging it with traditional finance, like, you want to talk about hedging bets, it's honestly a very smart and great way to be able to blend these ways to allocate your money and to put it in a way to make your assets keep growing, and to find, like, dip your toe into the crypto realm and see how, like, deep the rabbit hole goes, if you will.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, man. So something I want to go back to that you brought up earlier, and I want to unpack a little bit. So you've been in the crypto space since 2009. We are now, you saw the first decade happen. Now we're in this next decade. So much has already happened this year in 2021. You've seen different bull cycles and how all that goes. What are some of the big lessons that you were able to take from the last decade and be able to bring it into what you're building at Equifi?
That's a tough question. There are so many lessons. On a personal level, I've learned to be desensitized to market movements, because if you're constantly reacting to what the market is doing, that sensitivity is too stressful. I mean, then you really feel, okay, this is too volatile for me. And after you see, 1, 2, 3 cycles, either based on, Bitcoin halvings or the economics that go around bull and bear markets, you realize that this is so early. This industry is growing so fast, and it's so early that as long as you have the wherewithal and the mindset to stay in it for a few years, you're going to end up better than where you were 3 years ago. Now, the challenge is a lot of people come in with a get-rich-quick mindset. And then if they enter at the right time, it's great. They get rich quick. Like the people who came in at the end of last year are riding it, and they're very happy right now. The people who came in yesterday or, a month ago are a little uncertain because they don't know if it's going to continue or if it's not. So I think the number one lesson I learned is have a long-term plan. If you want to build something, if you want to invest in the space, if you want to allocate some of your assets and wealth into it, don't look at it as monthly, quarterly, even yearly. Look at it as, where do I want to be in 5 years? And is this asset class, is this exposure, is this project I'm building going to allow me to get there? So that's number one thing. Number two thing is basically, it's super early. And if you build something that's valuable to others, this goes for any industry, but you're going to see the rewards come really fast in crypto. So again, the mindset, I never started with, I want to enrich myself approach, because again, I had 2 exits long before blockchain was invented, and did well for myself with the internet boom and even before that. So I come from a different perspective. But even if your goal is to be in a better place financially, if you don't start there, but if you start with, how can I serve others? How can I bring value to other people? That's your starting point. You're going to be incredibly successful. If you look at the projects that brought value, brought access, brought opportunities to people who didn't have it using blockchain and in a decentralized fashion, they're unicorns. They're $1 billion projects right now. But because their approach was, how can we change certain things and make it better for other people? And then you look at projects who were just focusing on, how do we get wealthy ourselves? And those are gone. They don't exist anymore, because either the people, couldn't build it, they didn't have the resilience to continue during the bear market, or outright they just took the money and ran, because that was their goal, right? They wanted to raise some money, better themselves. They did, mission accomplished, and they moved on. Those are not the type of projects, that really help with the growth of the industry. So I hope, if anyone wants to get into the space, they start with, what problem can I solve? How can I help people? And if you start there, again, the opportunities are limitless.
Man, that was beautifully said. That was amazing. Definitely can tell that you're refined through the years and have such a breadth of knowledge and been there, have done that. It's amazing. It's so reaffirming to hear you say that, because I come on this show and talk about that long-term horizon so often that I'm sure my audience sometimes gets sick of it. But to hear you say that in such an eloquent way, very refreshing. I definitely appreciate that feedback, man, because I agree. You got to play the long game in this. And I've spoken with a lot of people at this point, and a lot of them say, I just wish I would have played the long game instead of trying to get these quick hits or, what have you. But again, thank you for that explanation. And another question that I want to pose to you is, as you look into the future, as EQIFI is about to come into the world, and EQIBank and the nice, beautiful blend that y'all have, what are some things on the horizon that people should be looking out for?
Well, I hope that we can blaze the trail and be pioneers, and more projects like ours that connect untapped audiences follow suite. Again, it would be very lonely, although probably financially it would be phenomenal, but it would be very lonely if we were the only gateway in and out of DeFi in a license regulated manner. So on our end, with EQIFI platform, we're going to launch with 4 products: fixed rate, variable rate, interest rate swap to go from one to the other as needs change, and a yield harvester that allows us to get our ecosystem exposure to other projects, other pools, and allows them to have that access without learning about Polkadot or Solana or Avalanche or you name it. So that's the starting point. Once the platform is live and we see what the community wants, we're going to keep building. Those 4 products are going to be 8 before the end of the year, probably, and then 24 by the end of next year, because we're not going to stop building. When I say I like building stuff, I really mean it. Like, I like building stuff that other people find useful. The satisfaction I find in that is, it's more than anything else. So we want to grow the platform. We want to make sure EQIFI meets all the needs, both on the DeFi side and digital banking side of our users and stakeholders and constituents. Which direction it's going to take? Again, that's, when we say community powered, we really mean that. That's going to be the community. If someone comes and says, hey, in my region, we have this need and we know we can build it to serve that need, that's what we're going to do. Now, we do have a roadmap because we are blockchain agnostic, and we want to have all the chains converge on EQIFI platform. So throughout the year, we're going to add different chains, different products, different bridges. That's always exciting because there's a nice size of overlap between Ethereum community and BSC and Ethereum and this. But there's still those outliers who don't belong to both. And we want to be able to bring everyone onto the platform and create a home for them where all their financial needs, all their DeFi needs, all their banking needs can be serviced. Of course, we can't solve everything for everyone. I understand that. But I'm very hopeful that we're going to create this nexus for a lot of people to be able to have the access they don't have. Industry as a whole, again, I really hope that we see more of these gateways into the space, because I feel like the people who are not in crypto, it's never too late. A friend of mine always told me, it is your time when you get in. It is your time when it's your time. It's never too late. But I do feel that we're getting to an inflection point where there are really large projects launching, really important projects launching this year and next year and coming online. And being a part of that journey for those newcomers, the freshly acquired minds in eyeballs is going to be similar to what I experienced with Ethereum in 2015. So I would want people to have that experience. Now, if someone comes in 10 years, are they going to be late? Absolutely not. They're going to come into a much more robust, much more mature environment, and maybe that's their risk profile. Maybe that's the best outcome for them, not to get into blockchain and crypto right now, but in 10 years when their retirement accounts offer it as a really high yield product or a service. So everyone's going to enter when they do. There's no right time or wrong time about it, but I think this current wave of institutional interest, as well as new blockchains coming online, as well as some very meaningful and impactful projects launching, is a really good time to experience that excitement, experience that movement. And when things cool off and calm down a little, whether that's next year or the year after that, you at least live through that rush.
No doubt. And thank you for hosting all of that out. I mean, the first 4 products sound very exciting. The fact that you're planning on having 8, hopefully by the end of the year. 24 by next year. I mean, that's quite the roadmap. That is very ambitious. But like you said in an earlier statement, you want to be around projects that are building for the future. And it very much sounds like EQIFI, EQIBank is building for the future. So I really do appreciate you spending some time with us, dropping all that amazing knowledge. I do want to ask you one final question, and that is, what is a final thought that you want to leave with all of our listeners here today?
I guess do your homework. And that's going to sound a little out of nowhere, but we want people to understand what EQIFI stands for before they get involved, or before they buy our tokens, or before they interact with the platform. I like it when people ask questions, and that's my investment thesis too. I invest in things that I understand. I build things that I understand, and ideally I would use myself. And I invite everyone watching the show, and maybe they're, veterans of the DeFi space, and they know where to get their information, and they're set. Maybe they're less familiar with the space, less familiar with the projects, and they're watching and thinking, maybe buy this token or that token. In general, a little bit of research and homework goes a long way before taking any action where there are going to be consequences. So if you want to just put something on your watch list, you don't need to do a lot of homework. You're just watching it. But if you're, getting involved with the community, getting involved with the project, I think my message, and I find it very surprising that a lot of people don't do this, is do your homework, ask questions, try to meet with founders, not just for EQIFI, but any project you want to support or use or be a part of, and try to understand what you're getting into. Because if you do that, there's no bad project, there's no scam project. I mean, there may be some, but the majority of the disappointment people experience in this space is because of lack of knowledge, and that is completely avoidable.
Education is power, and it just takes a little bit of initiative and want to, and not going in blindly, but to know for yourself whether or not, to know why you're going in something other than like, oh, my friend said I should do this, or to really know for yourself, like, okay, this makes sense to me because of ABC. And I really do think that's some amazing advice. And again, that's one of the main things we do here at Cryptocurrent. Make sure we're bridging the gap between people who know not a lot about crypto and blockchain without leaders in the space like yourself. I appreciate all the knowledge you've been able to drop on us today, because you dropped a ton. Brad, what are some ways that people can connect with you and also learn more about EQIFI?
I'm on Telegram. They can come to our channel. I'm there. They can direct message me. I'm Brad Yasar on Telegram. And on the EQIFI side, I invite everyone to check out the website, eqifi.com. Subscribe to the newsletter. We're going to start whitelisting people for platform access in the next round of sale, probably in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for it if that's of interest. And reach out on LinkedIn. We're pretty much present on most of the popular platforms. Obviously, our main channel is in Telegram, and a lot of fun and interesting conversations there. But if they're curious about the project, I'd say join the Telegram group, the channel, maybe the announcement channel, and just drop us a line on the website, because we're improving and updating the website almost weekly. And again, we're getting ready for a launch at the end of Q2, which is very exciting. And I want to give people enough time to ask those questions and right. Get involved in ways that they would be interested in before the launch.
For sure. And again, he just gave an open invitation. He even gave his Telegram out. So if you have questions, make sure you're engaging with the community. Make sure you reach out, you drop a line, get the information you need, because this sounds like an absolute amazing project. And again, Brad, I appreciate you joining us today. And of course, for everyone listening, stay cryptocurrent.